Thanks for joining us. We have with us the Managing Director at Bajaj Auto, Mr. Rajiv Bajaj. I am catching up with him after a few days now, and it's a good reason for me to be here with him because it's an all-new product that we want to speak about, and it is not a motorcycle. It is in fact a new product that is now christened the Qute. To find out more about that and of course the strategy behind it, the man himself. Thanks for speaking to us, Rajiv.
Sure, Siddharth, anytime.
And good to see you and catch up with you here. It's always nice to come to the headquarters.
Likewise.
So the Qute. It's of course a story that began a while back, but now that the product is ready and you've given it a new name, yeah, and it's ready to get to customers, what is it all about?
Well, it depends on whether you're talking about the internal perspective or the external perspective. From an internal point of view, we are the world's largest three-wheeler maker. And in terms of first mile, last mile transportation, conceptually I would say that like any market, it's a three-tiered pyramid. There are always people who will be at the bottom of the pyramid. In this case, I would say they make use of the three-wheeler for first mile, last mile transportation. On the top of the pyramid, you have people who can afford much more. And I would think that those are people like ourselves who use a car as a taxi. I think there is a space in the middle, above the three-wheeler, below the car, a value space, if I may call it that, for a commercial vehicle that can play a very specific role in terms of intra-city transportation, especially public transportation. And so therefore, from the point of view of our internal strategy, the Qute was developed for that very specific purpose.
But of course, there have been many hurdles for you along the way, to put it mildly. There's also been almost a confusion for the industry itself to take a position on this matter. I mean, we've seen the Siam dithering on it. We've heard different manufacturers say different things at different times. I mean, I remember maybe, what was it, like 12 years ago, Tata Motors at one point seemed to be interested in pursuing this segment. At the time, there were certain manufacturers who opposed it. They today have a different position. Why? Why this confusion?
I think there's more than one question there. One, as far as industry bodies are concerned, and I'll say this even if it gets me into trouble, I have never been a fan of CII or SIAM or any such body, because I don't think bodies do anything other than reduce things to the greatest common denominator. So if you have a general idea, you can lobby through the body, but if you have a specific idea, it doesn't go very far. So let's leave that aside. As far as the industry reaction is concerned, let's take two steps back and take a broader perspective to it. Cars today have more technology in every sense, and you know this perhaps better than anyone else, than they did 20, 30 or 40 years back. But from my point of view, they are only less sustainable than ever before. They are only dirtier, if I might use that word, than ever before. They are only more dangerous than ever before. And they are only more difficult to manage in terms of congestion, wear and tear of roads, parking, etc. than ever before. So for me, cars are dirtier, more dangerous, more difficult than ever before. Now, this is a mindset issue, I think, because there was a time when everybody thought that the world was flat and the sun went around the earth. It took a long time to change the collective mindset of people, to say that the earth is actually round and it goes around the sun. My contention is more technology is not the solution to the two very specific problems that the cities of our world are weighed down by, namely emission and safety. In this case, the contraintuitive wisdom, less is more, is what is relevant. We need less technology. We need vehicles that are less in terms of size, i.e. they are smaller, less in terms of weight, i.e. they are lighter, less in terms of performance, i.e. they are slower. And if we solve that fundamental problem by orienting our solution towards, in my words, for personal transportation, bicycles, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, quadricycles, any kind of vehicle that is essentially smaller, lighter and slower, we will immediately find ways to alleviate the situation, because all the emission and all the safety concerns come out of a vehicle that is essentially too big, too heavy, and therefore needs a big powertrain to move the vehicle, let alone the people sitting in the vehicle. So that is actually the root of the problem. Unfortunately, take another minute to finish this, the entire automotive world seems to be working on the wrong end of the problem. I make the engine more fuel efficient, make the engine more powerful, put in a hybrid, put out a promise of an electric, even suggest something as preposterous as hydrogen fueled cars. I've been hearing this for the last 30 years, I think, and it doesn't seem like it's around the corner anytime soon. How will we solve this problem in a reasonable time frame? This is the question in front of us.
But you make clear that this is a commercial vehicle, the one that you have developed. So it doesn't necessarily threaten the passenger car, the personally owned passenger car in any case directly. However, the solution that you speak about infringes on that space. Is that where the threat comes from, do you think, for your rivals?
It may for them. I have never excluded the Qute from the possibility of being a personal vehicle. I was asked, I was told to give up on the Qute in the personal segment, in return for which I was told, very expeditiously, I would get approval for the Qute as a commercial vehicle. From my point of view, the car itself,
Told by whom?
This we will discuss offline. But the car itself, or the anti-car as I like to call it itself, doesn't know whether you own it, or whether you are just a passenger in it. So,
and that choice should be left to the consumer.
I think so, because not only two-wheelers and cars, even with a three-wheeler in this country, as in with every other country in the world that we export to, while the three-wheeler is primarily a commercial vehicle, it is absolutely possible, legitimately, to own one as a personal vehicle. In Sri Lanka, over 60% of three-wheelers that we sell are used as the entry-level car for the family. So why a Qute, which is a four-wheeler with doors and roof and blah, 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 should be considered unworthy of being a personal vehicle? I don't understand. And I would even go so far as to say, if it shouldn't be a personal vehicle because it's not safe, then surely it should not even be a commercial vehicle because it's still carrying people.
And it's, yeah, I mean, the same rules apply, so to speak. At the time you began the development, and that does go back a fair amount, there was that whole talk about tying up with Renault for the ultra low cost car. At the time, it seemed that you were in fact developing a passenger car, and you even showed a concept at the Auto Expo. Does that also lead to some of this confusion?
No, I don't think so.
Sort of now deliver that promise almost through the back door?
No, not really, not in our minds. I'll tell you the long story on that. When we started in 2007 with Renault, I think we can acknowledge that it was inspired by the Nano. And so between us and the Renault Nissan alliance, we did our own analysis or feasibility of the project. And in about 12 months, it was quite evident to me that such a vehicle would never be viable, even if it found favor with customers. From my point of view, perhaps Renault Nissan was, being as big a company as they are, for them it's not a big deal to perhaps take on a project like this, which doesn't apparently look viable on day one. Bajaj Auto is too small a company to take that leap. And that is why, as is well known, I said to Mr. Ghosn in 2009 that, look, I would like to respect the physics of this. The math doesn't add up. I can't do this. And therefore, we exited what was a project to make the lowest cost car. We turned our attention then to actually play off our own strength, because thereafter, we were on our own, in terms of taking this project forward. And our strength was the fact that we were the world's largest three-wheeler maker. And so we had specific skills and a very competitive cost structure with which we put three-wheeler together for all global markets. And so we said to ourselves, as much as, for example, Gillette would make a better blade by putting another blade on it, you know, the smart thing for us to do, simplistically, is to put another wheel on the three-wheeler. Because ultimately, Siddharth, the risk for all businesses is really only one, and that is competition. You know, as my marketing guru Jack Trout taught me, trust breeds trust and success breeds competition. Competition breeds commoditization. So before the three-wheeler becomes a commodity, because of the number of players that are entering it, even in recent years, I mean, TVS, Mahindra, who knows, maybe Tata tomorrow, you know, we need to do something to raise the bar. And we thought this was the best way to take it forward. So as opposed to the Renault-Nissan project, which was the cheapest car, I would insist that this project is all about the most exotic three-wheeler.